Hey folks, I'm Walter, and thanks so much for that question. That's actually a really good one. So you've got a guaranteed cabin on the ship, but you don't know where it's going to be. Well, that's because the cruise line doesn't know where you're going to be yet either. So what you've done is you've saved some money and you booked a guaranteed cabin. What that says is on that sailing, you absolutely are guaranteed to get that type of cabin on the ship. An interior, an ocean view, a balcony, whichever one you've gone ahead and booked. You book the interior. Oftentimes, about a week or two out, the cruise line will go ahead and assign that cabin till you'll know where you're gonna be. But it's not unheard of for you to not know your cabin until you show up and check in. And once you check in, they're like, okay, here's your cabin assignment, and then you go. So you are literally at the luck of the draw. Wherever the cruise line assigns you, that's where you will end up. Now, if you really want to be in a certain place on that ship, then you have to pay that little bit of extra and go ahead and pick the cabin yourself. Now, on rare occasions, a cruise line may decide to go ahead and upgrade you. So instead of that interior, you might get an ocean view. Or if you've got an ocean view, they upgrade you to a balcony. So that sometimes happens because, you know, you're leaving it up to the cruise line, and the cruise line's like, hey, we got some extra balconies available, or we've got some extra ocean views available. We're gonna take this person and go ahead and give them a little bump up. So that's what a guaranteed cabin means. You absolutely will get that type of cabin on the ship. It's just the cruise line will decide where you're going to be. It's a really good question. I mean, how important is the cabin selection on a cruise ship? Honestly, it comes down to personal preference. I mean, how important is it to you that you have a specific type of a cabin and that you are in a specific location on the ship? Now, a ship is a moving object on the ocean, so it is subject to the conditions of the ocean. It will move up and down, front to back, and it will move side to side. In fact, I have this episode from January. You can scroll down my profile where I go into greater detail on that. The other thing is there's some cabin location that you may want to avoid due to potential excessive noise. And again, I have another episode from January. You can scroll down my profile and see that episode as well. For us, we always know that we want a specific type of a cabin. It's usually going to be a balcony or a suite, you know, maybe a junior suite. And we want to be in a particular place on the ship. We really enjoy the aft cabins, the ones right on the very back of the ship looking out over the wake. They tend to be among the most expensive because there's not as many of them. Beyond that, we're usually looking to stay from midship to the aft. We just like that section of the ship more, and we generally tend to stay away from the elevator openings, you know, not right there because there's a lot of traffic going back and forth with the elevators. But really, the importance of the cabin just comes down to personal preference. I mean, where do you want to be on the ship and what kind of cabin do you want in relation to some of those other factors? Thank you so much for that question. So booking 2 years out is kind of a nerve-wracking thing for you. And are there good cabins available 4 to 5 months out? Absolutely. And the availability depends on, you know, the market, the season, where you're going, what type of a ship that you want to be on, because obviously inventory will be limited depending on where you're going and what time of year. But one example, about 6 weeks out, we booked a junior suite on the Mariner of the Seas to go to the Caribbean. So especially a location like the Caribbean, there is lots of inventory and lots of ships going in there. So even as close as 1 month out, you can probably get yourself pretty much the type of cabin that you want on a ship. Now, it all depends on, you know, what type of cabin are you looking for and if they're a specific ship and a specific itinerary. The further out you book, the better your chances of getting the exact cabin that you want on the exact ship, on the exact itinerary. But absolutely, you can book 4 months out, 3 months out, 2 months out. It just depends on how particular you are on the type of ship that you want, the type of cabin that you want, and the itinerary that you want to sail. So thanks so much for that question. I hope that was helpful.